Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Lucario, GM of Legacy 30. I am going to be making this video, which is a tier list of how difficult the raids are for this bracket. We get a lot of people that join the community, and whenever they do, they usually just like to ask, like, how hard are the raids? Or, well, I got to get, do I need, like, I had somebody last night ask, do I need like 40 people, or maybe this is Friday night, but they asked, do I need like 40 people for Molten Core? And I couldn't help but laugh at that because no, you do not. So this list is going to be pretty much a way to gauge how difficult the raids are as of this current time in the War Within for the level 30 bracket. So we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to be giving you pretty much my most honest opinion about this. So, I mean, if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I personally don't really care. This is just from my experience doing this for nearly 4 years. I know some people don't really do this content too much, but they always want to like try to explain how wrong you are, and that's really not true because like I have literally ran every one of these raids numerous times rating in the last 4 years. So, except for the last one, but we'll get to the last one. Last one's a special one. But first off, we're going to do Molten Core. Molten Core is relatively easy. However, the debuffs that you get from like Ancient Hysteria or the Silence for like however long it is, or just whatever, like the debuffs that you get in Molten Core is very annoying to deal with if you don't have somebody that can dispel. And of course, easily you could just obviously go in there and prep for it, and you can just be like, hey, I'm going to go in there and like dispel all the stuff and focus on that only, and just, you know, it's really whatever. Obviously that alone can make the raid incredibly stupidly easy, even more than it already is. However, generally people don't really plan around that. We're just kind of like, yeah, I can run Molten Core. Let me hop on this character real quick. Like, nobody's really thinking about that. So that alone is enough to make this slightly more difficult than like your average raid. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that up into C tier. Now, based off of this list, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. This list is going to be pretty much for every single raid at its maximum difficulty in terms of difficulty. Okay? So this isn't going to be like, oh, well, 10-man normal or whatever. If the raid can have 25 heroic, it's going to be gauged off of 25 heroic, for example. So next one, we have Blackwing Lair. Blackwing Lair, in my honest opinion, is the hardest of the classic content. So I'm going to throw that one up in A tier. It is not stupidly difficult like it would be an S tier. However, if you were to run this one or the two Encourage raids or Molten Core, Blackwing Lair is going to give you the biggest problem. Straight up. It's the goblins and like the whole whelp run farm part you have to go through. Like, that alone makes it difficult enough to be on this list up here. Number 3 is going to be the Ruins of Encourage. Now, this one is the 10-man version. This one is stupidly easy. Like, you can like pretty much sneeze through this one. It's 10-man, but you literally don't need much of anything to run it. We only run this one as like a filler raid. I'll never really make an event for this one. It's more of like, hey, you guys want to do a quick raid? Yeah, okay, let's do Ruins of Encourage. So, next one is the Temple of Encourage. This one is the Cthulhu one. It's not quite as hard as Blackwing Lair, and I'd argue it's harder than Molten Core. So Temple of Encourage definitely is going to be the B tier of this. I think it's perfectly fine there. Like, I actually really like this raid. I kind of wish that we ran it more often, and I always forget to schedule it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to Karazhan. Everyone loves Karazhan. However, unfortunately, because of Blizzard doing whatever Blizzard did, Karazhan has pretty much been reduced to a glorified dungeon. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that one at the end of D. Actually, I'll put that one in front of Temple or Runes. And the main reason I'm going to do that is the fact that, at least when it comes to Karazhan, it takes longer to actually run Karazhan. Like, Ruins of Encourage, you could just kind of like sneeze on through it, so it's not really anything worth dealing with. So the next one is going to be Magtheridon's Lair. Magtheridon's Lair is another D tier. It is incredibly easy. 2 of our guys have 2-manned it before, just, you know, playing around. It's not really it's not a challenging dungeon, or a challenging raid, I should say, at the very least. Like, you can literally just go in there with a couple people, and this is another filler. Like, so like the D tier ones are basically like filler raids I would recommend doing. It's not anything I would like really want to like plan around. So next one is Gruul's Lair. That is another D tier. Now we'll actually put that one. I'll actually put that one at least ahead of these two in terms of difficulty. And that's mainly because of the first boss. Gruul himself is a joke. Like, you can literally just go in there and lull your way through it. It's not really an issue. However, that first boss, the first boss is always chaotic, because even if you kill the boss, some of the other ads don't despawn, and you still got to deal with that. And even if you're, like, really not paying attention, you could still die. Like, I died to that one last night when we were running it, because I was slightly not paying attention, and I got killed. It was kind of funny. Like, I wouldn't say it was embarrassing, but, you know, it was embarrassing. So, it is what it is. Next one is Serpent Shrine Cavern. Now, this one used to be an A tier, but as of this current time, it is definitely a C tier. This raid is not hard, but it is still one of the ones I would schedule for. I actually really enjoyed doing this raid. It's really not too much to it. Like, some of the, like, the Demon Hunter boss at one point was, like, nigh... It was nigh doable. Like, you could just not do it. But we have, you know, with power creep and scaling and everything like that, and better gear, better enchants and everything, we've actually been able to just kind of sneeze through it. Well, maybe not sneeze through it. Like, it still takes a little bit of time to do this one, but it's not like you're going to go in there and sweat, you know. The next one is the Eye. Now, the Eye, I have a love-hate with this one. I'm going to put this one right here at the top of B tier. The Eye is not difficult. It just comes down to Kel'Thas, and Kel'Thas alone is enough to at least warrant a possible A tier in terms of difficulty. If you don't have enough people, if you're not doing the right thing, it will be an issue. But I don't think it's impossible. Like, when we were doing our progression rating over a year ago, we had to actually stop at the Eye because it was just too much. But regular rating, no, it's not really that bad. Like, in all honesty, like, it's pretty easy. Next one is the Battle for Mount Hyjal. Now, this one is infamous for just being boring and repetitive, and it's just really whatever. I'd argue that it's probably going to be C tier. It's not overtly hard. I'll actually put it in front of Molten Core. It's not overtly hard. It's just, by the time you get to the fourth boss, it's super buggy. So it's entirely possible to just kind of screw up, and then everyone just kind of has a bad time, because it's happened numerous times. The fourth boss, again, it's not hard, but everyone usually dies to that one just because of some wonky bullshit, and that's not really our fault. That's just how Blizzard has it coded. So, the next one is the Black Temple. The Black Temple is, I'd say it's a B tier. I'm going to put it in the front, and that's mainly just because of the time walking aspect of it. You can go into the Black Temple and just, you know, it's a time walking raid, so you can do it with max levels as well, or you can just go in there and, you know, like, the more people you have, the harder it gets. So, because of that, I'm going to put it at high B. It's not an A tier raid by any means. It used to be hard. Like, when we first started doing this, raiding content at 30, at one point, we have a very infamous video of us killing Illidan, and it took 17 minutes to kill Illidan. It was a hard time. Like, we wiped a bunch. Now it's like, yeah, we can kill Illidan, but there's still some like problems in there that can get you killed if you're not paying attention. But, you know. The next one is Sunwell Plateau. Sunwell Plateau, I personally really think it would be an A tier. It is a very infamous raid for our community. Like, yeah, some dumb tryhards going in there and like try to show how easy it is to do. But here's the thing. I don't take that into consideration if you have to play the min-maxing aspect of it, or if, like, you know what I mean, like, if you have to go in there and like really play the absolute meta classes, that doesn't matter to me. That is a very niche 0.1% ideal population kind of thing. Like, the average raid groups we do, we don't really care. We just like invite whoever, and it, like, that's the entire point. That's the entire idea of this community. A lot of people don't seem to understand that, and they take it as a very dumb approach. And I mean, here's my thing. It's the duality of me. Like, I don't care if people are like that, but at the same time, I think people are so dumb about it that they don't seem to understand how problematic it is to be like that. Like, Sunwell is mildly challenging. It, like, you know, when you get to Brutalis and Fel Mist, like, they can really mess you up if you're just not doing things right. And it has always been a very infamous raid. At one point, this was the hardest raid available to us at one point. and it's still mightily challenging now. Like, if I go in there, if we're going to go in there with a full raid group of like fully geared out people and plan it out accordingly. Of course, we're going to steamroll it, but that's not what we do here. That's why everyone likes coming here, and this is why people enjoy doing raids with us. If you do that kind of idea, if you raid that kind of way, you're going to run out of shit to do, and nobody's going to really have fun, and you're never going to grow from that. And here's the best part about this is I'm not wrong. So people can dispute that all they want, but I mean, the numbers say it for themselves. The next one is the Vault of Archon. This is probably the one we've done the absolute least. It is not difficult at all. I will just say it is low C tier, just because of the fact that you have to basically control Winter Grasp. That's the hardest point of it. Outside of that, obviously, it's probably... Okay, I'm not going to say it's a D tier, because it's honestly not, but it could have been higher up. But it's just... It is what it is, you know. Naxxramas 25-man. Naxxramas 25-man is definitely harder than these other ones. It is not nigh impossible, of course. Like, this is like one of those ones that we like to go in there just to test ourselves out with like new builds or whatever. Naxxramas is a very long raid, and there's a lot of like bullshit that can happen, obviously. So like with Patchwork can like obviously check you. Thaddeus has been known to do it a couple times. Saffron's kind of like bugged out, so like you may die, you may not. It just really depends. It's a challenging one. I'd say it's definitely an A tier raid. Like, I mean, luckily for me, I really like Nax. The next one is the Obsidian Sanctum. Now this is a joke of a raid, straight up. However, I will put it... Actually, I'll put it in front of Kara. And I will only put it in front of Kara because of the fact that if you do it without killing the dragons and you kill all the bosses at once, things can go wrong very quickly. But usually if you have like even a basic just thrown together group, you can pretty much succeed with that one with really no issue, even with that. So the next one is the Eye of Eternity, 25-man Malygos. Malygos is very, very easy. It sucks because I really love Malygos. He's obviously like my favorite dragon aspect. I really love the raid. I love how simple it is. I love that it's a one dragon raid. You just go in, do what you got to do, and get out. So for that, I will say it is C tier. It would definitely be harder than Vault. I don't know if it'd be harder than Serpent Shrine, but it's definitely harder than Vault. Okay, so the next one we have is Ulduar. My personal hated raid. Okay, so like I love the lore behind Ulduar. I love everything about Ulduar. However, I've ran it so many damn times. This is another time walking raid. I'm kind of burnt out. I've ran it for Valnir procs or shards so many times, and I'm just really at the point where I just can't stand Ulduar personally. But that being said, it is another time walking raid, and I would definitely put it up here in Black Temple. It'll probably be higher than Black Temple. Just because some of the bosses in there are like different. Each of the bosses have a hard mode that's something Black Temple didn't really have. So next one is Trial of the Crusader, 25-man heroic. This one is definitely harder than Ulduar. I'd probably put this one at low A. Like, it's not the most challenging thing ever, but it's definitely like a fun time. Like, we don't do this one enough, and I wish we did. Like, we just went and did this one not long ago, and it was kind of like a... it was kind of a messed up, like, experience. Actually, I could probably put it above Naxxramas, like, just because of the hard mode, or the heroic aspect of it, so... Alright, next is Onyxia's Lair, 25-man. I think there was a heroic on this one. I don't remember. I don't think there was, actually, but... 25 Onyxia, it's definitely... probably about right here, I'd say. It's easier than Black Temple because it's just one boss, but Onyxia's been known to wipe. We've been known to die on Onyxia quite a bit, so. And with that comes our last 3 spots. So, with that being said, Icecrown Citadel, ICC, is an S tier. 25-man heroic, this is a chaotic place to go. Some of the tryhards we have in the community only seem to want to run this raid for whatever reason. and they base everything that they know about the raiding bracket niche from this one raid, which you can't realistically do that because it doesn't like factor in with everything else. You just kind of base everything off of like 10 fights, and it's just that's why I kind of like don't take certain people serious when they talk about this stuff, because I'm just kind of like, yeah, well, okay, but have you like actually raided everything else multiple times? I don't think you have. I really don't think you have. So it's also insanely difficult. Like, nobody has really beaten 25-man Heroic Lich King yet at our bracket. I have never cared to do that. Like, we have had this opportunity to do it many times over the years. I just didn't care because I knew it was going to be hard. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, to sit there and fight with it. Some people are going to tell me I'm wrong because I've had that happen. But at the end of the day, like, what I'm saying is not wrong at all. It is actually very difficult to do. ICC is just, it's boring. Like, I've done it so much, I just don't care about it anymore. I really don't. Like, I thought it'd be fun if Legacy 30 got the world first on it, because I think, in my opinion, we should be the ones to get the world first on it. We're the only 30 guild that really matters. Like, everyone else is just, they're just kind of copying what we did first. So I guess nobody was really good enough to have their own idea to do this first before us, but it is what it is. Next one is the Ruby Sanctum. My god, I hate this raid more than any other raid on this list. It is an S tier, straight up. It's a very basic, easy fight. However, Halion is incredibly bugged. There's numerous different ways to actually do this raid properly, and it all still counts. We actually had a race with this one not long ago where it was NA versus the Russian 30 community guild, which is not really a community, but it was us racing them. And I mean, I don't know if they were like really taking it serious as we were. It was just really funny for us because we were like pushing these these Cold War memes. It was just making it fun for everyone because, like, we had the option to do the Ruby Sanctum years ago in 25 Heroic. I just said no because I hate this place. I don't like how buggy it is, and it's not fun because of that, but that's just me. But we got it, and it was probably one of the best raids we ever had. Like, I don't want to go back in there anytime soon. It'll probably be a long time before I decide, like, hey, let's go do the Ruby Sanctum again, but, That being said, that leaves the last one. Unfortunately, no one can do this one again. Legacy 30 is the only Twink community that actually got to do this one when it was available through an exploit, of course, and that is the Firelands. The Firelands was, without a doubt, my favorite raid we've ever done. It was a community effort. Everyone came in. Of course, we planned wrong because this is a time-walking raid that is for a level bracket beyond this. And a very funny thing that I forgot about was hit chance on higher level mobs because I'm so used to not dealing with that. So, I had everybody stack up on their like priest and warlocks, and the mobs just could not be hit by spells, which made it even harder than it already was. Melee was king for this one. Out of every single raid we have here, Melee was absolute god tier for this. So for the warriors that came along, you're the GOAT. That being said, it is absolutely an S tier. I would actually argue that this one was harder than the Ruby Sanctum. And if we did not plan accordingly for this one, I don't think we would have been able to do it. But also you got to keep in mind that the Ruby Sanctum, or not the Ruby Sanctum, but Firelands is not technically supposed to be available for us. It just happened to have been available for us at that time. Again, this is all level 30 content. If you're interested in this, if you want to come join, the link to the Discord will be down below. If you're somebody who's just doing this with a group of friends, like we have a lot of people that come in and kind of like ask that kind of stuff. Obviously, this is ranked how it's going to be. D tier is just basically you could just get a small group together and just go run it. It's really not an issue. C tier, it gets more difficult. B tier, it gets more difficult. A tier, obviously, it's getting more and more difficult. S tier, this is where the competition is. This is where the hard stuff is. So if you're not ready for that, I wouldn't recommend it. But also, I wouldn't recommend you coming in here to try this as a tryhard. It's just not fun, in my opinion, and I think you'd have more success just doing it easy. Or if you just want to come raid with us, I mean, we'd like to do things easy and make it fun for everybody. So, all right, thank you guys very much. Please leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.